Hey, EV fans, welcome back for another deep dive. You ready to unpack some seriously shocking developments in the EV market?
Always ready to dig in. Let's do it.
Okay, so we're looking at 2024, a year of some pretty big shakeups. And we've got some fresh analysis here, including reports from Inside EVs and Car News China.
Some really interesting stuff coming out of China, especially.
And that's what I want to jump into first. You might think Tesla is still totally dominating the EV scene, but get this, BYD is right on their tail.
Yeah, it's getting really close.
So let's break down those numbers. Where did Tesla and BYD end up at the end of 2024?
Well, for Tesla, we actually saw a bit of a dip in their sales.
But dip it, really?
Yeah, a little over 1% down from 2023. They finished the year with 1.79 million vehicles sold.
Huh. So not exactly the kind of growth we're used to seeing from them. What's going on there?
Well, there are a few ideas going around. Some analysts think it's Tesla's model lineup. It's getting a little bit stale.
I mean, the Model 3 and Model Y have been around for a while.
Exactly. And the Cybertruck hype, well, that's kind of faded.
Didn't they push back the release again?
Yep. The redesigned Model Y not expected until 2025.
Plus, some analysts are suggesting that Elon Musk's political stances might be alienating some of those diehard Tesla fans.
Yeah, that's definitely a factor for some buyers.
It's like, do you want the car or do you want to avoid the CEO? It's a tough call for some people.
For sure.
Okay, so a bit of a stumble for Tesla. But then there's BYD. They're having a very different kind of year.
Oh, yeah, they saw a huge jump in sales, a 41% increase, ended up selling 4.3 million vehicles in total.
4.3 million. That's incredible. What's driving that kind of growth?
It's interesting, they're not just selling pure electric vehicles. They're really killing it in the plug-in hybrid market, too.
So appealing to both sides of the fence.
Exactly. 58% of their sales were plug-in hybrids and 42% were pure EVs.
I guess it makes sense. People might not be ready to go full electric just yet, but a
Yeah.
plug-in hybrid that feels like a good stepping stone.
It's a way to test the waters.
Okay, so BYD is hitting it out of the park with both pure EVs and plug-in hybrids. But there's another layer to this story that I found fascinating. Car News China pointed this out. BYD isn't just making cars, they're a major player in the battery industry.
Yeah, they're huge.
And get this, they're even supplying batteries to some of their competitors, including Tesla.
It's true. BYD is the second largest battery supplier in China. They're supplying Tesla, NIO, Toyota, you name it.
Isn't that a little bit crazy? Like supplying the weapons to your enemy?
It might seem counterintuitive, but it's a brilliant strategic move. It gives them a ton of leverage, they control their own supply chain, and they can influence the production capacity of their rivals.
It's like a chess game. They're thinking 10 moves ahead.
Exactly. It's about controlling the whole board.
So while Tesla is focusing on building the cars, BYD is controlling what powers those cars. That's a game changer.
It really is. It's all about vertical integration in the EV market these days.
So we've got Tesla seeing a bit of a slowdown, BYD on this massive upward trajectory. What's next for these two giants? Where do they go from here?
Well, Musk has been pretty vocal about where he wants to take Tesla. He's shifting the focus away from hardware and toward software development.
So software is the future for Tesla.
That seems to be the plan. He's betting big on autonomous driving and even, wait for it, humanoid robots.
Humanoid robots. Seriously, I mean, that sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It does, doesn't it? But Musk sees these robots as the solution to future labor shortages. He thinks they'll be crucial for boosting productivity.
So less about building better cars and more about building the brains behind them, even if those brains end up in robots.
Exactly.
It's a bold vision, to say the least.
Yeah.
But is it a gamble? I mean, are people really clamoring for robot butlers, or do they just want a better, more affordable car?
That's the million-dollar question. Only time will tell if this gamble pays off. It's a huge shift from Tesla's core business, and it remains to be seen if consumers will actually embrace this vision of the future.
So we've got Tesla looking towards a future where software rules everything, maybe even beyond cars, and then we've got BYD playing a more grounded game, building those affordable EVs, and absolutely dominating the battery market.
Yeah.
It's a clash of two very different philosophies.
It is, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Absolutely. So what does this mean for the average car buyer? If someone's thinking about going electric, what should they be paying attention to right now?
Well, for the consumer, this competition is a good thing. It means more choices, more innovation, and potentially a faster transition to an electric future. But it also raises a big question on who will ultimately lead this revolution.
The race is on, and it's anyone's game.
Yeah.
But let's dive a bit deeper into these competing visions for the future, starting with Tesla's audacious software ambitions.
It seems like Musk is trying to push Tesla beyond just being a car company. His vision for autonomous driving and AI, it goes way beyond just self-driving cars. He's talking about a fundamental shift, like in how we think about transportation and even labor.
So you're saying it's less about building a better car and more about building the brains behind it, even if those brains end up in robots instead of vehicles.
Exactly. And this software-focused strategy, well, it could have huge implications.
Yeah, like what? What kind of implications?
Think about it. If Tesla actually perfects self-driving, they're not just selling cars anymore. They're selling a service, a completely different way of getting around.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like they're aiming to be the Uber or Lyft of self-driving cars, but on a whole other level.
Right. But what does all this mean for the average person who wants an EV right now? What does it mean for them today?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's all very futuristic sounding. But what about the here and now?
Well, the most immediate impact is still autonomous driving for their cars.
Yeah.
Musk keeps saying that fully self-driving cars are just around the corner, and Tesla's putting a ton of resources into making that happen.
But hasn't he been saying that for years? What makes Tesla's approach different this time? And is it really realistic to think they can pull it off when so many other companies are struggling with the same thing?
Yeah, it's true that self-driving technology has hit a few roadblocks, but Tesla's approach is different. They're relying on data collected from all the Teslas already out there on the road.
So like a million little spies feeding information back to headquarters.
Kind of. Millions of Teslas are constantly gathering data about real-world driving conditions. It all gets fed back into their system, and they use it to constantly refine their algorithms.
So it's like this massive real-time experiment. Always learning, always adapting. That's a pretty big advantage.
For sure. But of course, there are still those safety concerns.
Yeah, there have been accidents with Tesla's autopilot system, and a lot of people are still pretty nervous about the idea of fully autonomous vehicles.
And rightfully so. Safety is paramount. The ethical and legal complexities of autonomous driving are immense.
It's a bit mind-blowing, really. We're talking about machines making life or death decisions. That's a huge responsibility.
It is. It's like, on the one hand, you could potentially reduce accidents caused by human error, but on the other hand, you're introducing a whole new set of risks.
Yeah, it feels like we're still in the very early stages of figuring all of this out.
We are. It's kind of like the Wild West out there right now. Lots of unknowns. But the potential benefits are huge. I mean, think about it. Increased safety, more accessibility, maybe even less traffic.
Okay, so Tesla's future is riding on this big software gamble. But what about BYD? What are they doing to solidify their position? They're not messing around with robots, are they?
Nope. While Tesla is dreaming of robots and self-driving cars, BYD is laser-focused on what they do best, building affordable, reliable EVs and owning the battery market. Remember, they're even supplying batteries to Tesla.
It's kind of amazing when you think about it. They're quietly building this foundation for a mass-market EV revolution, and at the same time, they're supplying the competition.
It's a smart strategy. They're meeting the current demand for affordable EVs while also making sure they're a key player in the future.
And they're not ignoring plug-in hybrids either. That's a market Tesla seems to have no interest in, at least for now.
Exactly. BYD is giving people options. They're catering to those consumers who aren't ready to go all electric just yet. It's a pragmatic approach, and it's clearly working for them.
Okay, so we've got Tesla, the tech-focused innovator pushing the boundaries, and then we've got BYD, the manufacturing powerhouse, steadily building their empire. It's a clash of styles, almost like two different approaches to climbing the same mountain.
It is. And for the listener, for anyone who's interested in EVs, this competition is a win-win. It means more choice, faster innovation, and ultimately a faster transition to a more sustainable way to get around.
It's like watching a tennis match between two Grand Slam champions. Each player has their own strengths, and the audience gets to enjoy this incredible display of skill and strategy.
I like that analogy. But just like in tennis, there are no guarantees. The EV market is constantly changing, and the companies that can adapt those are the ones that will ultimately succeed.
Speaking of adapting, let's talk about the big question that's hanging over the entire EV industry, the environmental impact. Are EVs really as green as everyone says they are?
That's a tough one. On the one hand, electric vehicles don't have any tailpipe emissions, which is a huge improvement over gas-powered cars. But then you've got the environmental cost of battery production, which takes a lot of energy and raw materials.
So it's not as simple as just switching to electric cars. We have to think about the whole picture, from mining the materials to what happens to the battery at the end of its life.
You got it. The sustainability of EVs depends on a lot of things. The sourcing of materials, the manufacturing processes, how the batteries are recycled. It's complicated.
It's like a puzzle where all the pieces have to fit together perfectly to create a truly sustainable solution.
Exactly. It takes a holistic approach.
Hmm.
Governments, manufacturers, researchers, consumers, everyone needs to be working together.
So the EV revolution is exciting, but it's not a magic bullet. There's still a lot of work to do.
Definitely. But the good news is progress is being made. Battery technology is improving, recycling is becoming more efficient, and renewable energy is playing a bigger role in the whole EV ecosystem.
So it sounds like the future of EVs depends not just on the companies that build them, but also on the choices we make as consumers.
Absolutely. As consumers, we have a responsibility to be informed and to make choices that align with our values.
Okay, so as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are some things our listeners should be thinking about when they're navigating this whole EV landscape? What questions should we be asking?
Well, one big thing to consider is the environmental impact of those batteries I mentioned. Doing some research about where the materials come from and what the manufacturer's recycling practices are like, that can be really helpful.
And what about the ethical side of things? Are the companies we're supporting, are they treating their workers fairly? Are they sourcing their materials responsibly?
Those are important questions too. We should be supporting companies that share our values, and that includes environmental and social responsibility.
It's a lot to think about, but it's important.
It is. It's about being informed, being mindful, and being part of the solution.
It really feels like we're at this turning point. The EV revolution is happening, and the choices we make now, well, they're going to have a big impact on the future of transportation.
It's global, and it's playing out differently all over the world. Like Europe, they've been ahead of the curve for a while.
Yeah, Europe is always held up as this EV paradise. What are they doing that's working so well?
Well, a lot of European countries have put these strong incentives in place, government incentives and regulations to encourage people to buy EVs.
Like what kind of incentive?
Norway, for example, they offer big tax breaks and subsidies. So for a lot of people, EVs are actually cheaper than gas-powered cars.
Oh, so they're really putting their money where their mouth is. But it's not just about making them cheaper, right? What about charging?
You're right. They've also invested a lot in building a really good charging infrastructure. So it's easy to charge your EV wherever you go. It's a combo. You got to make EVs more appealing to buy, and you got to make them convenient to use.
Makes sense. So Europe seems to have figured it out. But what about China? They're a big player in the EV market too, right?
Huge. China is actually the biggest EV market in the world right now. They're producing and selling more EVs than anyone else. They've got these ambitious policies to push EV adoption, like really strict emissions standards and big subsidies.
So it sounds like more of a top-down approach in China, with the government really leading the way. What about the U.S.? How are we doing? Are we keeping up?
The U.S. is making progress, but we're still behind Europe and China overall when it comes to EV adoption. But things are changing. We've got federal tax credits, state incentives, and more electric models coming out from both the big car companies and new startups.
And Tesla deserves some credit here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they really helped to change how people view EVs. They made them cool.
Totally. Tesla was a huge part of that. They shifted consumer perception. They showed that electric cars could be stylish, high performance, and fun to drive. But now the competition is getting fierce. The traditional car companies, they're finally taking EVs seriously.
Which is good news for anyone who wants to buy an EV.
Exactly. More competition means more choices, lower prices, and faster innovation. It's a win for everyone.
This revolution isn't just happening in developed countries, though, right? What about developing countries? Are they getting on board?
It's still early days for EV adoption in developing countries, but there's definitely growing interest, especially in places like India and Brazil.
What are the biggest challenges for them?
Affordability is a big one. EVs are still pretty expensive compared to regular cars, and that's a big obstacle for a lot of people in developing countries.
Yeah, cost is a factor everywhere, but especially in places where people don't have as much disposable income.
What about infrastructure? Is that a hurdle, too? Oh, absolutely. You need a solid charging infrastructure, and that's a huge challenge in countries where resources are limited and the existing infrastructure might not be up to par.
So it's a lot more complicated than just, flipping a switch and everyone's driving electric cars.
Yeah.
It's about economics, infrastructure, and making sure everyone has equal access.
It's a complex problem with a lot of moving parts. It requires governments, businesses, and communities all working together.
So where do we go from here? What's the next chapter in this whole EV story?
That is the big question, isn't it? I mean, the electric revolution, it's still unfolding. There are a lot of things we don't know yet. But one thing is for sure the future of transportation. Well, it's going to be defined by innovation, sustainability, and accessibility.
It's an exciting time to be following all of this. We've come a long way, but there's still a long way to go.
And for you, our listeners, this is your chance to be a part of this. This is a historic shift. Stay informed, ask questions, and make choices that are right for you.
We've covered a lot of ground today, but as always, the most important question is, what does all of this mean for you?
How do you think the electric revolution is going to affect your life, your community, the world?
Think about it. Share your thoughts, and let's keep talking about this.
We've reached the end of our deep dive today, but we hope this has made you curious and inspired you to learn more.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the topics that matter.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning.